Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. It's your host, Brian Forbes, with Inside Steppin. Tonight, we're going to talk about what I like to refer to as city to city. We're also going to have an interview right here in the studio. We have a special guest, and we're going to talk about a few things in regard to the Steppers community and some things that might help us all. So, tell y'all what, let's go ahead and get it cracking right now. All right. So, one of the things I'm going to talk about tonight, in particular, dealing with things that we see and hear around the Steppers community on a national scale. First of all, let's start by discussing some of the things that take place politically. Because one thing that I think, and I've said this before, and those of you who follow this show know that I've said before and in the past that oftentimes we have a problem with not really understanding the dynamics and the differences when we start talking about different cities and where people are and where people are from and what takes place from one place to another, and they're not always the same. You know, what goes on in one place doesn't necessarily go on in another. Many people, they often struggle with the differences between what's happening in different cities, and what's good in one city may not be good in another. There are a lot of cliques, there are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of different events, venues, and promotions, and all of the different things that we all are exposed to every time we go to a different stepper set or a different city to enjoy this dance that we all love so much. But I want to caution people in general, especially for those of us who travel all over the country to do this dance. If you don't live in a city, be very careful about what you believe is going on in the city, because a lot of times, and I wish I had a quarter for every time somebody called or somebody told me that they knew what was going on in the city that I live in. And usually they're getting half the story, not even half of it sometimes. They're getting bits and pieces. A lot of people, some of which I like to refer to as social climbers and hustlers, they go to other cities and they talk to other people outside of a city and they start telling their side of the story, and they want to tell everybody about how they've been slighted and how they've been made a victim. They come and they play the victim role, and they tell everybody, because we've had some of that happen right around here. We have people who will go venture out because they've done things that were subversive to the community, and then they venture out into the world and they start telling everybody about how they don't get support and how nobody treats them the way they think they should be treated, when in fact they're the very reason why they're not getting treated the way they think they should. It's their problem. It's their fault. They're the hell raisers, not everybody else. And I'm always cautious of people who are quick to have to explain their side of the story. I used to have a cousin that I grew up with. Whenever she get in trouble or she did something she knew she was going to get in trouble for, she was always the first one to run out there and tell her side of the story, mainly because she knew that if the real story came out first, it was an automatic ass whooping. So she had to be very careful about how she explained that, but she wanted to plant the seeds of innocence before the truth came out. So that same theory in my book applies to a lot of these same people who run around talking about how they get treated around the Steppers community. They bring these things on themselves. There are a lot of people who are doing this social climbing. They're looking for accolades. They want popularity. But I say be careful what you ask for. Be very careful, because you can become famous for things that are not so good. And we have a whole lot of tarnished reputations across America in the Steppers community. We got instructors, promoters, and just general bad actors, many of whom will never recover from their behavior in the past. They will never recover enough to be trusted or taken seriously ever again by the community of Steppin at large. So it's going to be very difficult for them to give a party, a step a set, a workshop, or anything else where they expect people to trust them to provide what they say they're going to provide. There are instructors who claim they're going to provide something and they don't. And it's as simple as that. And there are a lot of people who have been victimized in this whole thing. They have misused people's confidence. Now, I want y'all to understand, take that word confidence. Let's talk about that. Confidence is what we place in others to trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. It's called integrity. But I also want you to understand that the short word for confidence is con. If you ever heard somebody call somebody a con man, please know that where that came from, the word confidence. It's called the confidence game. They gain your confidence in order to take what they want from you. We got givers and takers in this world. Some people only take. Some people only give. Some people don't know when to stop either one. It's unfortunate, but that's the way of the world. So I prefer people not be victims. You know, keep your eyes open when you do what you do out here. You're giving people your money to learn this dance. You're giving people money to travel to their set. You have expectations. We all have expectations. We're consumers of this dance. So, of course, we all want what we want. Now, if you're offended by anything that I've had to say so far, maybe you're part of the problem. Hit dogs do holler. Y'all know that, right? So, I said all of this to say, let's be wary of the stories that we hear from place to place. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear, because people are real quick to make themselves into something that they're not. And when we have as much division within this dance and across the country as we do, it's very hard for the right hand not to see what the left hand is doing, and you have people that are absolutely shady as hell. So, and with that, keep in mind that all of the things that are said and done deserve vetting. You know, you have to take the time to find these things out. I, in fact, received a phone call not long ago by someone that I know, been knowing for a while, a well-respected and trusted individual, who believed that I was affiliated with someone who is less than savory. And that was to my surprise. Be clear. I'll make it clear right here today and now. I am not affiliated with anyone. I am who I am. Inside Stepping is me. I am a founding member of the San Antonio Steppers Alliance, which is comprised of multiple organizations within this city, and we are fortunate to have what we have in order that we all show mad respect to each other and we all work together within this community to make this dance better and to keep a level of order that keeps a whole lot of shenanigans down. Other cities would benefit by doing something similar to what we've done here, and it would also help to organize and strengthen the dance nationally. You know, we're at a place now where we have to begin looking toward and forward to better organization. I've said this before, and some of you have read an article that I wrote in the middle of last year where I talked about the necessity for order and for organization, for some of these so-called instructors to be vetted and to be, especially the ones that are taking people's money. There needs to be some level of structure and order in order that people begin to get what they're supposed to be getting for their time and their energy. I have with me tonight a special guest. Ms. Rejeana Freeman is her name. Now, Rejeana is a Chicago native who now lives in San Antonio. And we're going to talk to her and we're going to find out what good things she has to say about the Steppers community outside the city of Chicago. But before we go there, I want to also say, as you move around this country, all of us, I want us to be mindful particularly people who go to different cities for the dances, for for the instructions and different things like that. When we travel to these other cities, please be aware that these people have other cultures, they have other understandings, they have other ways of doing things. And just because they don't do them the same way that you do, because you came from this city, does not make them slow or stupid or anything else. They just do things differently. And as a prime example of that, here in Texas, we have 2 or 3 different dance genres. And their dance genres are very important to them, the same way stepping is very important to us from Chicago. We must remember that as we go into these different cities, those people deserve to be respected. Could you imagine, now all my people in Chicago, from Chicago, could you imagine if somebody came into Chicago and said, oh, we gonna do this kind of dance here. Y'all should get with this. Y'all already know how that would go, right? I'll wait. you know that ain't gonna be cute. So I expect people to show that same level of, okay, nah, when you go to somebody else's city. Because it's just not gonna go the way, things are. These people here, they have an entire culture, history, and fabric to their dance the same way we do in Chicago. There are other cities like that. Detroit, they have ballroom, they have Greystone, and so on. They step up there, but that's their primary dance, and we have to respect that. So we're going to move forward, and we're going to bring Miss Rejeana on, and we're going to talk to this young lady because she's got a lot of good things to say, and we're looking forward to hearing from her. Rejeana, how are you this evening?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Oh, we here. Yeah. So, how long have you been outside the city of Chicago?
Wow. I've been outside the city back and forth since 1981.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. And what part of the city did you grow up in?
Southside, Robert Taylor Homes.
Southside. Okay. Robert Taylor, huh?
Robert Taylor Homes.
Robert Taylor condominiums.
Yes.
Robert Taylor condominiums. Yeah, okay. Okay, that's what's up. So you grew up with Steppin, right?
I did.
I mean, of course you did. You lived in Robert Taylor. I know you grew up with Steppin. You
That's
had to.
Right.
It was automatic.
It was, yes.
Okay. So you've been here now in San Antonio for what?
11 years.
11 years. Okay. And you've been stepping here for
8 years.
8 years. Okay. And you started taking, so with the advent of the 8 count, and of course its relevance to the evolution of the dance, because I know when you were growing up there was no 8 count like me. We didn't have that. So moving forward today, now you started to take lessons, right?
Yes.
Okay. And in taking those lessons, starting 7 years ago, give us a little bit about your. First, tell us tell us a little bit about you, and then tell us about your journey in stepping.
Well, my journey in stepping, it started because somebody talked me into going to stepping class, and I didn't think that they were going to be stepping like I knew stepping to be. Mm-hmm. However, when I got there, it was a little different. Mm-hmm. Music was the same. The vibe.
They
was
were playing the music
same.
that fit the dance. Okay.
Yes, the vibe was the same. The dance was a little different, so it took me quite a while to learn how to do an 8 count.
Okay.
Because I was not familiar with counting and dancing.
Counting with the pattern that we were familiar with.
Right.
Okay. That sounds good. So I'm at this point. I want to bring up this. Rejeana, you, and part of the reason I have you here tonight is because as we talk about the different things that go on in different cities, and we talk about the people who make statements and say things and talk about stuff that's going on in other cities, I want to talk about what I just talked about a minute ago in terms of integrity and people doing things that they shouldn't. I'm going to tell you all out here in my audience, Rejeana is someone I met recently here in San Antonio, because unfortunately we have a lot of people around San Antonio that at one time or another attempted to be a part of the stepping community, but were disheartened because of bad actors. And Rejeana is one of those people. Unfortunately, Rejeana came to me one day. She came to me one day feeling some kind of way. And she said to me, I can't believe that you all are here stepping in San Antonio and have been all this time, and I didn't know anything about it. And I could see the genuine hurt and pain in what she was saying to me, and it made me feel bad. And I didn't know, at that time, I didn't know her story. But I'm going to let her explain to you what happened in that period of 8 years being with or being in a situation where someone with less than stellar morals attempted to teach her to step. Rejeana, tell us what happened with you.
I was in a Steppin class. We met once a week, $10 a class, learning 8 count. As time went on, the class got smaller, and then new people came in, and then they left. So it was a constant rotation of people coming in and out.
I think that happens with most classes, though.
Yeah, but the people who left, I didn't know where they went or why they went.
They just disappeared?
They just disappeared off the face of the earth, and I had no idea why or where. And I stuck with the class that I was in because I trusted and I believed in this person. After 8 years, it didn't seem like I was progressing very much.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, after 8 years, in 8 years, you should be quite competent within the dance.
Right.
Do you feel that you got to that point?
No, I don't. I think it was slowed down. The progress of the class was kept at a minimum, so that I would make sure it would be as if I would still need to take the class.
So in other words, you would have to go back every week and continue to pay more money in order to get more of the dance. Right.
And just in that class, and not know about anything else that was going on in the community.
So are you suggesting that this individual or people never notified you that there were other entities within this city involved in Steppin and all the other things that went on?
No, I didn't know.
So we had all of these different parties and people promoting and all these different things, and you were basically kept out of that loop.
I was clueless. Wow. I was totally clueless. I had no idea what was going on in the city.
That's unfortunate. So how does that make you feel now?
I'm hurt. I'm genuinely hurt. I feel betrayed. I do. Because I put my confidence in this person, and I thought they were helping me. And I didn't know that all of the people who I had met before were still stepping.
But outside the realm of what you knew. Outside the bubble,
outside of my bubble. Right.
Okay. And this went on, you say, for years, actually. Actually,
it did, yes.
Wow.
Up until a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I think because we just met you, probably a month or two ago. Yeah. Okay, so that's very unfortunate. Now, this is just an example of the sort of things that we're talking about. You know, people who are not, people who do things that I believe are subversive to the community and to people like yourself because I view you as a Steppin consumer. You are a person who pays your money and hoping to get what you pay for. I guess this is another scenario, sort of buyer beware.
Yes, it is.
So I'm just curious. So were you able to take any other outside? You had no idea about anything.
I had no idea.
That's amazing.
No workshops. I don't even know how to feel right now.
No privates, no workshops, nobody, just that person.
Yes.
Okay. And you were led to believe, of course, that the city was the only thing going on in this city was with that person.
Up until a couple of months ago.
So how did you find out about the rest of the Steppin's community?
Somebody else told me about it at. Can I say the place? Name of the place?
No names.
I said the name of the place.
Nope.
Somebody told me that people were stepping at another place, and the people who were stepping at another place and instructing at another place were people I had went to class with.
So and the people that you were missing,
I was missing.
They were all found somewhere together.
Yes,
away from
without me. It was a group. It was a big group of people
outside the bubble.
Right. I was shocked.
Wow. Well, this I would probably venture to say that your story is unusual to some degree, because I can't imagine. I mean, I think this is maybe what we would refer to as sort of a perfect storm, I guess, in your situation, because I can't imagine anyone else. This is just, it's crazy. This is matter of fact, you can't make this up. This is not something you can make up. I'm blown away by it. I was blown away by it when you initially told it to me, and I'm still, at a loss. But let's just say I'm familiar with the individual that we're speaking of, and I am actually not surprised. But this, ladies and gentlemen, this story is a necessity in our community, because light needs to be shed on some of the activities that take place within the Steppin's community that are not right. Let's just forget the technicalities. Let's set aside the money. Let's set aside the fact that we have instructors. We have a lot of very competent instructors in this community. We have a lot of men and women who work hard, who are diligent about doing what they do, and they do it mostly out of love. I personally have found that the individuals who have more interest in money than they do the love of the dance are generally the ones who create the problems in this dance. The ones who seem to do the most complaining about being treated certain kinds of ways are usually the ones causing the most problems in this dance. I hope that we come to a time. Well, let me take that back. I already know that's not going to happen, because Steppin is nothing more than a microcosm. It's on a macro level of society as it pertains to us as a people. And until we as a group and as a people begin to learn to unify ourselves in better ways and negate the petty as much as possible, we're going to continue to have these sorts of problems. And it's unfortunate, but people suffer behind it. People suffer because of it. This dance has brought a lot of people a lot of joy. This dance has brought people out of addiction, out of depression, out of illness. The list goes on. And it's unfortunate that there are those who would sit in the background or in the forefront even and take advantage of individuals, take their money, and treat them this way. This kind of reminds me of flood victims or hurricane victims. They're victims, but yet you've always got those people who will get on the phone and call them up and be like, yeah, we put a new roof on your house, give us $5,000. You give them $5,000 and they run off with your money. This is kind of the same thing, in my opinion. I don't like to see people treated badly in this dance. Sometimes I even wonder why I do the things that I do, my wife and I, as we attempt to make a difference in this community. There are plenty of days where I just want to go sit down somewhere and mind my business. But I would feel some kind of way if I let the things that I see take place, continue to take place without bringing light, shedding light on the shady spots. And we have many. Now, I grant you a lot of it. Nah, it ain't my business. But at the end of the day, I root for the underdog. I have a rule. If you stand behind me, I'll protect you. If you stand beside me, I'll respect you. If you stand in front of me, you can expect for me to try to cut your head off, because I'm going to. That's just me. So I would hope that moving forward, we don't have too many more problems like the one we've addressed today here in San Antonio. I hope that nationally we have people who work harder to work together to make our dance stronger, better, faster, and solidify our community. Shouts out to GDI with the Heritage Ball taking place this weekend. That's a beautiful thing. I want to give shouts out to my club here in town, Uptown 78, my man Lamar over there, our gracious host. Give shouts out to Noble Lounge. These gentlemen make it good for us and our other organizations on Friday to do the instruction. We have a fantastic class going on over there. I got to give shouts out to the cake lady, my girl Bernella. You know, she make my cookies. Y'all be missing my cookies. I got them butter cookies, y'all. Told you them things is good. Yeah. And these are our sponsors for the night. Let's look forward to, and I'm going to keep plugging this until the time comes, the Chocolate Ball. That's going to be on July 4th weekend right here in San Antonio. It's going to be a fantastic event. We look so forward to it. And also, watch out for me at Black and Bling. We will be broadcasting live. Studio at Black and Bling, and we will be doing live on the spot interviews. Look for us. We'll be at the Embassy Suites Hotel right in the lobby, so right by registration. So y'all come and give us a shout, give us a hoop and a holler, and hang out with your boy. And I want to take this time to thank Miss Rejeana for coming into the studio and hanging out with us a little bit and giving us a little bit of her story, just so we kind of, plant a few seeds of hope in other people that these types of things, be looking out for stuff like this, and let's kind of help put a stop to it. Let's put a stop to some of the nonsense and the shenanigans moving forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been my time. I want to thank everybody for checking me out. I'm Brian Forbes, and this is Inside Steppin. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful evening, and be careful and have fun on the weekends. Peace, y'all.